Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Working Man Ron Doyle. I ran into a little bit of a situation a number of years ago where I was selling things on Facebook Marketplace. I ended up selling some used strip heaters. I knew that all the strip heaters had worked prior to taking them out. They came, I believe, from my cousin's house, and he did confirm to me that there was no problems with the heaters. I sold the heaters on Facebook Marketplace, all of them as a lump sum for a very reasonable deal compared to what they cost at the store new. The lady that bought them owns rental properties. I won't disclose her name because I'm not out to bash anybody. This video is going to be addressed as do you take every job that you see, or do you limit your risk of liability? As a licensed Maryland State master electrician, you want to do everything you possibly can to limit your liability status with your insurance company. You want to stay in good standing. You want to do decent jobs. What I found out in the past was a lot of these rental landlords have got numerous properties, whether they be in good area or bad area. Mostly the bad areas of town, in the different towns and different districts, will skimp on doing repairs. Some people call these people, or these landlords, slumlords. I would rather not use that term. There's different situations for everyone in life, and they may be just getting by with rental property. It may be a possibility that they're not managing them right. May be a possibility that the district that they're in, such as Worcester County, one of the poorest counties in Maryland, the rental rate is just not there to maintain the house. So as a licensed contractor, you go to different jobs. This video may be more directed to Sparkies and landlords. So hopefully the video helps, but the gist of the matter, she called me after she got home. She had her electrician wire these heaters in, and she called me on the phone. She said, "Hey Ronnie, 3 of these heaters that you sold me out of the pile of like 9 don't work." And I said, "Oh, is that so?" I said, "Well, they came from a reputable source, and I believe that the person told me they worked. I believe he was telling me the truth." So I went to her rental property, which is in Pocomoke City, Maryland, a number of years ago. It seems to me it was probably 7 or 8 years ago now. And I found out she didn't have the proper voltage going to the thermostat. She had some breaker issues at the panel. Well, upon looking at her present situation, electrical situation, it was a very unsafe electrical system. So she's got a house that's been split as a duplex. There is a front half, a back half, and part of the front half is attached to the upstairs. So this particular older couple is living in the back part. Well, this lady, this landlord, had called me today and said that she had a problem with the electricity. Delmarva Power has already been out and has diagnosed that it's on the customer side. So she calls me. I had only done the one job for her, which was diagnosing why the heaters that I sold her did not work. I corrected that problem. And I think it was a simple fix. It's just changing a breaker out, and it corrected that issue. Knowing that she had numerous electrical problems at the property, I did not choose to do work for her, and a certain period of time had lapsed. I really didn't want to get involved in this because I'm trying to limit my risk of liability. Well, this last phone call, I totally forgot who she was, because I had a large customer base, and I forgot what it was all related to. So upon Delmarva Power leaving, she calls me. I agreed to come out to look at the problem, and as soon as I pulled up to the house, I'm like, oh no, I've been here before. I don't know how many properties she has. I've only went to one of them. This is the only one that I've been to. Looking at the overall situation, there was multiple code violations. I'm just going to name a few. Do me a favor, you see violations in these pictures that I'm adding into the video. For all your Sparkies out there, give me a list of all the violations that you see in these pictures. Romex wire, NM wire, exposed in the exterior part of a house, entering the bottom of a panel. Bushings, whether it be a plastic bushing or a clamp, an NM clamp, wire holding device, not holding wire at the panel, holding it in place, wire securement, multiple wires under one breaker, the wrong wire size, the wrong gauge size, under high amp breakers. And I'm actually on a return trip from Pocomoke City right now. I've got to go to the supply house to see if these possible breakers are available. But anyway, I'm rambling. Multiple violations. Those are the ones that stood out to me as a fire hazard. Now, I did find out that a range wire that is toward the middle left, and you'll see it in the picture. I'll point it out to you, that it had improper voltage. It had 119 volts on one leg, and it had 92 to 98 volts on the other leg. Pulled the breaker out. The bus bar is fine behind it, no corrosion. Don't see any arcing or burning. The breaker was warm. The landlord, upon calling her, she told me that she had installed 3 prior electric ranges, and asked me if that was the cause of why the ranges are crapping out early. And I said that's a real good possibility. The breaker on the top right, that you see in the picture right now, it would not stay in place. The maintenance guy that she's got there presently noticed when he took the panel door off that the breaker won't stay in place. It's a little loose. It has more wires than it's supposed to have. The wires that are on it are the wrong gauge for the wrong size breaker. But I would like some input into the bottom of this video for you Sparkies out there, licensed electricians. Give me a list of code violations that you see to help everyone else out in this video. So you may be a landlord, you may be a Sparky watching this video. I'm gonna paint the picture for the landlord right now. Landlord, pay the money, hire a licensed electrician that knows what he's doing. Have him do the work, get an electrical permit, get an electrical inspection, get it checked off that everything's been done correctly. Stop getting these handymans out there, and I was one of them at one time. Stop getting these handymans out there to do a little quick fix and botch up an electrical panel, as bad as this job is, causing a fire risk to 2 of the tenants that could possibly be in the house. Now, the front part of the house is vacant, the back part of the house is occupied. If something happens to this house, she's liable to put them up in a motel until the problem is corrected. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not pointing her out as being a bad landlord. I don't know her present situation. That's not my business. My business is to try to get the power restored. And at this current state, there's so many violations into that panel. Do I do the job, or do I limit my risk of liability and pass the job on to the next person? I have a really good feeling that I could ask and show pictures of this electrical panel to multiple electricians in and around Salisbury area that would do work in Pocomoke City. And I can tell you, for the majority of the electricians out there, we would pass this job up. There are way too many violations in this panel to do a repair, put our name on it, that we only corrected the problem with all the other underlying problems that are in the panel, and we walk away, setting ourselves up for a liability lawsuit if this place catches fire because we don't do all the corrections that all the handyman did years past. So my question for you Sparkies out there, and I want a comment from you Sparkies: do you take the job, or do you pass the job up to the next guy? I think I know the answer. The answer is pass it up to the next guy, and it's going to end up falling back on a handyman. It's going to end up doing the repair. It's going to end up botching it up even more than it is into an unsafe situation, unsafe living situation for potential tenants. This may be more of a rambling video, me rambling on, but now I'm going to set it for the Sparkies. Do you take the job, or do you pass it on to the next fellow electrician? Leave your replies and comments at the bottom. I would love to hear what you all got to say about this one. It's a doozy. Limit your risk of liability. I don't want to take every job. There's jobs that I see that I want to pass on. It's just not worth the trouble, not worth going through an insurance claim if this lady points me out to be a shoddy electrician. And it happens. Usually the last person in the panel is the one to blame. Well, this video is to document everything that I've seen and everything that I've talked about with this lady over a phone conversation, telling her way I would like to correct the problem. First point of the problem would be addressing why the power's off to those two particular breakers, correcting the problem, but also putting piggyback breakers in so that I can get the right size wire on the right size breaker. That's my #1 goal, is getting power restored and getting it restored safely. The second phase of what this job would entail is correcting the wire that enters the panel and the wire on the correct breaker size. So there would have to be a splice box installed under the house that takes it from an NM wire, a regular Romex type of wire, through conduit and change it into UF wire or THHW or a stranded wire, and individually stranded wires coming up through conduit chaseway to be able to correct all of the potential problems that are in the panel. So, Sparkies, I'm going to add some pictures in the video. Comment on the pictures down below. I'd love to hear what you all say. Do you take the job, or do you pass the job on to someone else and limit your risk of liability? Hope you all liked the video presentation of limiting your risk of liability. If you did, I'd appreciate you give me a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for future videos on things electricians do. You all take care, God bless, and stay safe out there.